My ex-wife left me for my business partner, then crawled back when he dumped her. My ex-wife, Kathy, 38, and I, 38, were together for 19 years, married for 16. We shared a beautiful 14-year-old daughter. To the outside world, we looked like the perfect family. A loving husband, a devoted wife, and a smart, kind daughter. But beneath the surface, cracks had been forming for years. Ones I didn't even notice until it was too late. 6 months ago, Kathy shattered our lives when she left me and our daughter to be with my business partner, Leon. Leon wasn't just a coworker or acquaintance. He was someone I considered a friend. We worked together for years before we decided to leave our jobs and start a business. For 5 years, we built the company from the ground up. I trusted him not just with our business, but with my life. Little did I know, he had been having an affair with Kathy for 3 of those years. I found out about the affair in the most devastating way through text messages on Kathy's phone. One evening, she left her phone on the kitchen counter while she went to take a shower. A notification popped up, and I glanced at it. The name on the screen sent a chill down my spine. Leon. I told myself not to jump to conclusions, but curiosity got the better of me. When I unlocked her phone, my worst fears were confirmed. The messages were explicit, filled with words of love and plans for a future together. They even mocked me in some of their exchanges. When I confronted Kathy, I expected denial or at least a weak attempt at justification. Instead, she looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Yes, it's true. I'm tired of hiding it. I want to be with Leon." Her cold, detached tone broke me. I asked her why she'd betrayed me, why she was willing to throw away everything we had built. Her response was even more gut-wrenching. "I never loved you the way you thought I did. I married you because I got pregnant and didn't want to do it alone. I tried to love you, but I couldn't. Now I've found someone I actually love, and I won't let you hold me back." I begged her to reconsider, for the sake of our daughter if nothing else. I was willing to go to therapy, to make any changes she wanted, just to keep our family together. Looking back, I realize how desperate and foolish I sounded. She brushed me off, saying she had made up her mind. Within a week, she filed for divorce. The divorce was surprisingly straightforward. Kathy didn't ask for alimony or a significant share of our assets. She just wanted out as quickly as possible. At the time, I thought it was because she felt guilty, but now I see it was because she was so eager to start her new life with Leon. Leon, for his part, didn't even have the decency to face me. Instead, he sent me an email apologizing for the affair and explaining that he was leaving the company. He claimed he didn't know how to tell me about the affair and hoped I would find it in my heart to forgive him. It was a pathetic excuse, and I deleted the email without responding. Kathy and Leon moved to Boston shortly after the divorce was finalized. Kathy said it was for a new job she had been offered, but I suspect it was to put as much distance as possible between us. For months, my daughter and I struggled to adjust to our new reality. She was angry, not just at her mother, but at the situation as a whole. Kathy made no effort to maintain a relationship with her, and my daughter felt abandoned. Then, a week ago, Kathy came back literally and figuratively crashing into our lives. It was late at night, around 11 p.m. I was in my home office finishing some work when the doorbell started ringing frantically. At first, I thought it was an emergency. My daughter and I rushed to the door, and through the window, I saw Kathy standing there, visibly distressed. My daughter, who had been harboring resentment toward her mother, begged me not to let her in. Ignoring her plea, I opened the door, expecting something serious. But instead of asking for help or explaining her presence, Kathy immediately started yelling at me. She accused me of deliberately hiding Leon's abusive behavior to punish her for the affair. At first, I had no idea what she was talking about. Then she showed me her arm, where a small cut was covered with a band-aid. She claimed that Leon had thrown a vase at her during an argument, and it had cut her arm. Kathy went on to explain that their relationship had been falling apart ever since they moved to Boston. Leon resented her for forcing him to leave the business and blamed her for his unhappiness. Their arguments had escalated from verbal abuse to physical violence. The night before, he had lost his temper and thrown the vase. That was the last straw for her, and she left. I told Kathy I was sorry for what she was going through, but firmly reminded her that it wasn't my fault. I had no way of knowing about Leon's abusive tendencies, as our relationship had always been strictly professional. She refused to listen, insisting that I must have known and accusing me of hiding it to punish her. The argument escalated until my daughter intervened. Standing in the doorway, she told Kathy to leave. My daughter, wise beyond her years, said things I didn't have the heart to say. She told Kathy she had no right to act like a victim after abandoning us, and that her current situation was a result of her own choices. You failed as a wife and a mother, my daughter said. You left us, so now you have to live with the consequences. Kathy was stunned into silence. She stood there for a moment before bursting into tears and leaving. My daughter slammed the door behind her and went back to her room without another word. I was proud of her strength, but also heartbroken that she had to grow up so quickly because of everything Kathy had put us through. I thought that was the end of it, but 3 days later, Kathy returned, this time with a lawyer. She announced she was filing for full custody of our daughter. She claimed the only reason she hadn't fought for custody during the divorce was that she didn't want to disrupt my life. Now, after our daughter's disrespectful behavior during their last encounter, she had decided she could no longer let her live with me. Kathy's audacity left me speechless. She had shown no interest in being a mother for months, and now she wanted to take my daughter away from the stable life we had built. I refused to back down. My daughter deserves better than being used as a pawn in Kathy's attempt to regain control of her life. This ordeal has been a painful reminder of how quickly someone you trust can turn your life upside down. But through it all, my daughter and I have grown closer. She's my anchor, my motivation to keep going. Together, we'll face whatever comes next. Kathy made her choice, and now she has to live with the consequences just like we've had to live with hers. She never made any effort to stay connected with our daughter, claiming she was doing it for my benefit so her presence wouldn't complicate things further. She tried to convince me her actions were noble, not selfish, but I wasn't buying it. I knew the truth. The real reason she didn't fight for custody during the divorce was because she was eager to start a new life with Leon. Her attempts to rewrite history were transparent, and I wasn't having it. But then, she hit me with the unexpected. Now, she wanted full custody of our daughter. According to her, she couldn't let me poison our daughter's mind with stories that would make her disrespect her mother. She claimed that during their last meeting, our daughter had been incredibly disrespectful, and of course, she blamed me for encouraging that behavior. I just told her to do whatever she wanted, slamming the door behind her. I was done wasting my time on her excuses. Yet, her words kept echoing in my mind. Was I really doing the right thing? Or was my anger clouding my judgment? Update 1. I've come to realize I have nothing to apologize for. My daughter was right to stand up for herself and for me. Kathy's betrayal shattered our family, and I won't feel guilty for the consequences of her actions. Many of you suggested I have a frank conversation with my daughter, especially if Kathy pursues this custody battle. So I sat her down and told her the truth. She's 14, mature beyond her years, and I know she can handle the tough realities ahead. It breaks my heart that she's had to grow up so fast, but at least now she's prepared for whatever comes next. She's made it clear she doesn't want anything to do with her mother right now. Kathy destroyed her trust when she cheated and abandoned us. and our daughter understandably blames her for tearing our family apart. While she's open to the idea of reconnecting with her mom someday, it won't be anytime soon. For now, our focus is on protecting her emotional stability. If this goes to court, I'm confident our daughter's wishes will be taken seriously. Update 2. A few days ago, I was officially served custody papers. Kathy's taking this to court, as expected, but my lawyer and I are ready for whatever comes next. The real surprise came when Leon called me. He begged me to tell him where Kathy was, saying she'd ghosted him after their last fight, and he had no idea where she was staying. I didn't help him out of kindness. I saw an opportunity. I told him Kathy was back to fight for custody and suggested he step in if he still wanted a future with her. My hope, maybe he could convince her to drop this ridiculous custody battle and focus on building a life with him instead. My lawyer agreed that it was a smart move. Update 3. We had our first mediation session, and it was a disaster. Kathy refused to cooperate and stormed out after just 30 minutes. Later that day, Leon showed up at my house, looking like a wreck. He begged me to help him find Kathy, saying she hadn't responded to his messages, and he had no idea where she was staying. I was done playing mediator. I told him I didn't know where she was, and I had no intention of helping him find her. He and Kathy had already done enough damage to my life. I wasn't about to bend over backward to solve their problems. He sat there on my porch, sobbing like a lost child, and I just grew more frustrated. These two had already ruined my marriage, and now Leon expected me to help him fix things. The audacity was almost laughable. I sent my daughter inside so she wouldn't have to witness the drama. I knew I had to be firm with Leon, but it was hard to feel any sympathy for him. I finally told him he had to leave. After everything that had happened, it was time to draw a clear line. I told him he was no longer welcome in my life. I was done with both him and Kathy permanently. I gave him Kathy's parents' contact information and told him that if he couldn't get through to her, he could try them. I wasn't going to be his fallback anymore. I didn't mince words. I told Leon that he and Kathy had destroyed my life. Their betrayal had left scars I wasn't sure would ever heal, and I wanted nothing more than for them to disappear from my world. I warned him not to try reaching out again. Of course, he tried to apologize. He said he never meant to hurt me, that his feelings for Kathy had taken him by surprise, and he simply couldn't help falling in love with her, but his words fell flat. At that moment, I realized nothing he said could undo the damage he'd caused. I didn't want to hear it, so I stayed silent. Eventually, seeing that I wouldn't engage, he left. Even after he left, I didn't feel relief, just exhaustion. My life was a mess, and I had no idea how to start rebuilding it. But at least I was done with them. Update 4. A few days ago, Kathy officially ended our mediation sessions and declared she wanted to take the dispute to court. Everyone, including Kathy, knew this wasn't the smartest move for her. She had no legal standing, but it seemed she was in denial about the reality of her situation. Then, earlier today, Kathy showed up unannounced with Leon by her side. I wasn't shocked to see they had reconciled, but I didn't let them in. My daughter was home, and she wasn't feeling well. The last thing she needed was more drama. I told them to wait at a nearby cafe while I arranged for my mother to come over and watch my daughter. Once my mom arrived, I went to meet them, already dreading the conversation. At the cafe, they started with apologies. Kathy apologized for abandoning our daughter, and Leon apologized for betraying me, but their words didn't move me. I stopped them mid-apology and told them that what they had to say no longer mattered. I wanted to know why they called me there. Finally, they got to the point. Kathy admitted she missed our daughter and wanted me to agree to let her see her every weekend, or at least every other weekend. She insisted she wasn't ready to give up her life in Boston, but she still wanted to maintain a connection with her child. Leon's request was even more audacious. He said he wanted to come back as a partner in my business and open a new branch in Boston. He tried to frame it as a win-win, but I saw right through him. I didn't need to think about it. I told them their proposals were unacceptable. Leon had resigned and sold his shares in the business. There was no way I'd trust him again, let alone partner with him. As for Kathy's request, it was absurd. Our daughter deserved stability, not a life of constant back and forth. Kathy should have thought about the consequences of her actions before moving to Boston. They tried to argue, but I cut them off. I told them their chances in court were slim at best, and this face-to-face meeting was just an attempt to manipulate me. I wasn't falling for it. I made it clear I wouldn't waste any more of my time on them. In the end, Kathy reluctantly agreed to my terms. I left soon after, feeling like I had finally drawn a firm boundary. Update 5. A couple of months have passed since that meeting. After Kathy's visit, I sat down with my daughter to explain the situation. I told her Kathy wanted to see her, but the decision was entirely up to her. My daughter asked for time to think about it, and I respected her wishes. Since then, there's been no contact. Kathy and Leon are still together in Boston, living their lives. Good for them, I guess. As long as they stay out of mine, I'm fine with it. I've been focusing on moving forward. The best revenge is living well, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm working hard, building a better future for myself and my daughter. My goal now is to raise her to be kind, strong, and independent. Someone who learns from this chaos and grows stronger because of it. I don't know what the future holds, but for now, I'm at peace. Kathy and Leon may have disrupted my life temporarily, but they didn't destroy it. I'm moving on, one day at a time, and that's where things stand for now. Life has thrown some unexpected challenges my way, but I'm determined to keep moving forward. Thank you for sticking with me through this journey. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support means everything to us and helps us create more stories like this. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update, and feel free to share your thoughts or similar experiences in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.